Yo, how you doing? How's your mama? How's your family? Kamaru Usman is really starting to get under my skin, guys, and I gotta make a video about it. This is one of my this is one of my favorite fighters of all time. One of my favorite fighters currently, but he's starting to lose the plot. And while he's starting to lose the plot, he's starting to lose me. On the Pound Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo. I don't know if I'm allowed to use this, but I am. I really don't know if I'm allowed to use it. Anyway. Shout out to Shadow Lion. If I'm not be able to, shout out to Shadow Lion Productions. My bad. Kush is really getting under my skin because in this episode, they previewed Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad. Henry Cejudo recognizes that, man, Ian Gary's close to a title shot. This could be the win that gets him a title shot. And look at Kamaru Usman's face in reaction to this. As if it's crazy. And then listen to his rationales of to why he believes that this fight doesn't get them a title shot. He believes that he deserves a title shot. I have some UFC rankings to show you later because the UFC shows you exactly what they think about Kamaru Usman's recent tenure in the UFC in those rankings, moving him down a lot. We'll get into that because the welterweight has moved a lot, and he hasn't moved at all. He's already showed that he's not interested in fighting or being active. He's turned down the Bilal fight. We know you don't get title shots by turning down fights, and you can't live off of what you've done in the past, a long time ago, by the way, what you've done in the past 5 years ago, and when it comes to opportunities in a what have you done for me lately sport. I'm gonna let Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman take it away from here, and I'm gonna add some commentary because it's really preposterous and it's really delusional and it's really getting under my skin as a Kamaru Usman fan.
Fight that's left, that could determine who could be up next, because if Ian Gary, let's say he gets it done, this is a 3-round fight. If Ian Gary is able to shut out the lights of a guy like Bilal Muhammad, where does that put him, dude? Or if Bilal Muhammad is able to finish him, I don't think a finish for Bilal would get him that title shot, but I do feel like if Ian Gary is able to win, bro, why would
okay, I hear what you're saying, but here's my little quick scenarios. I don't think either guy this puts them for a title shot
at all.
Not either guy this puts them
It sounds like he was gonna say in front of, and he changed his wording there. See, Henry Cejudo's keeping it real with this homeboy, and I don't think Kamaru really likes that, because if we know anything about Kamaru Usman, him and Justin Gage are boys, and they're in very similar situations where they've gotten some wins recently. Well, Gage wins with an S. Kamaru Usman win over guys who aren't highly ranked in their weight class and are looking for a title shot. And they're willing to sit on their asses for a title shot. And he's been campaigning as much as for himself that Justin Gage needs the next shot. Justin Gage deserves the shot the most. And now he's going to try to shit on Ian Gary and Bilal. And you're going to dig yourself a hole that shows a lot of contradictory. I'm going to let him continue.
For a title shot.
At all.
Not long ago did we just lose to Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Now we're talking about losses. Shavkat Rakhmonov, who was the closest to a title shot at that point, everybody's number one contender. Actually, he was the he was fighting for a title that weekend. Bilal had to pull out. He was the number one contender. Let's take a look at something. I'm going to save it for a little bit later. Let's look at the rankings first, okay? This is the top 5 of the welterweight division. Is there a name that you're not seeing? You got Jackie Maddalena, who was the champion. You got Bilal Muhammad, who was the champion, 2 welterweight championship fights ago. You got Michael Morales, who just beat everybody's closest number one contender, Sean Brady, who was dominating everybody on the way up. Knocked him out in a round. Very impressive. Shavkat Rakhmonov, who was scheduled for a title fight and fought in what could have been the interim title fight. You got Carlos Prates, who has only lost to Ian Gary in the UFC. Ian Gary, that loss is aging well. Just like Ian Gary's win over Carlos Prates is aging well. And he's been death-touching people, getting people out of there. And he just beat number 5, Leon Edwards. Very strategic matchup, by the way, to get Carlos Prates in that top 5. You don't even see Ian Gary's name yet. That's because he's 6. Ian Gary, everybody who's saying if he wins his next fight against Bilal Muhammad, he's probably the number 1 contender. He's not even top 5. Let's keep it going. Kamaru Usman's not even number 7. That's Sean Brady, who lost to a very, very dangerous guy in Michael Morales and was the closest to a title shot right? He was dominating guys, and he was starting to get finishes. Got Kamaru Usman at number 8 after the weekend, the huge welterweight weekend. He moved down 3 spots. He's not even top 5. He's not even top 6. He's not even top 7. That lets you know what the UFC thinks about Kamaru Usman as far as how close he is to a title shot, especially when you look at somebody like Paddy the Baddy, who just moved up to the top 5. And he hasn't had a fight since he beat Michael Chandler. That got him to 7. Now let's look at, we're talking about losses. Kamaru Usman, these last 4 ain't it. And like I said, Kamaru Usman is one of my favorite fighters of all time. He's my favorite welterweight of all time. And I don't think his run gets enough light, gets enough shine, because he was about to break records. He's about to break GSP's record. He was on his way to being the greatest welterweight of all time. He's probably the second greatest welterweight of all time. But this last 4 ain't gonna get it. You beat Joaquin Buckley. Cool. You lost to Hamza Chimaev. Up a weight class. We're not really gonna count that as far as your welterweight. You know, it doesn't really have that much weight. If anything, it's impressive that you were able to come in on less than 2 weeks short notice. Hamza Chimaev's the middleweight champion. I give you that. But it's still an L. Leon Edwards twice. And you got KO'd in the third fight. In the second fight, sorry. In the third fight, you lost to Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards has 2 wins over you in your last 4 fights. Oh, yeah, Leon Edwards looks shit now. Those losses have aged horribly over the time, and you haven't been in the octagon, you haven't been active. Now, I understand you've been dealing with injuries, but that's besides the point, because you're still turning down fights. Like I said, you turned down the fight with Bilal Muhammad, which would be a huge fight. That's a huge fight, especially what's going on the outside. Outside of the octagon, the beef, that's a huge fight. You're turning that down. You don't get title shots from turning down fights. And he's trying to shit on his contemporaries when Ian Gary he's making a very, very, very great case for himself. But let's continue with Kamaru Usman.
Not long ago. That was not that long ago. Yes, of course, we were able to outsmart Prates and get that win.
You can't just skip over that win. That's a huge win. That's a win that has aged beautifully, magnificently. Because Carlos Prates is baby Poatan. I've been calling him that since he knocked out Li Jingliang. He's the guy who knocks out guys who don't get knocked out. Jeff Neal. Nasty. Leon Edwards. Nasty. He recreated the picture of Leon Edwards that Leon Edwards created with you with the head kick. Huge, nasty KOs, touch of death. One of the hardest pound-for-pound hitters in the sport. Nasty. Can't brush over that win, because that win is doing nothing but aging magnificently. On short notice, 5 rounds.
But not long ago did we lose to Shafkat. And so, past that, we have, if what's the other guy's name? If Bilal is able to win that one, so, and then not just so, so now you want to challenge the man that you didn't want to challenge you to fight for the title, because you said that was my brother. I trained with him. I don't want him to challenge me for the title.
Damn.
Here comes more contradictory and more controversy, because Kamaru Usman, while you are correct, and that is shady, we've been calling that out for a while on this channel, you can't talk. If I'm not mistaken, you didn't want to move up and accomplish greatness and chase great. Hold on, let me let him finish, because he says something that's very, very important.
Oh, golly, Kamaru, did I even think about it that way? That's fire. And if
So,
and I don't think Bilal would, but if he would, then that'd be some shady shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but what are we in this for? If it's not for the gold, what are you?
Some shady shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what are we in this for? If it's not for the gold, what are you in this for?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for saying that, Kamaru Usman. What are we in this for if it isn't for the gold? What are we in this for? Now, let me get back to my point. If I'm not mistaken, and this sucks because you're my guy. If I'm not mistaken, you're the guy who didn't want to move up to 185 and chase greatness and become a champ. Because you didn't want to fight Izzy. 3 Kings, that's your brother. Nigeria, stand up. All good. I respect you for that. If that's how you feel, I respect. But you just said, if you're not in it for the gold, what are you in this for? And don't say, well, he was just focused on his welterweight division, his welterweight rank, because he said that he was willing to skip over 85, which is preposterous. Skip over 85 and go all the way up to 205 and fight Jan Blachowicz or whoever for the title, just so he didn't have to fight Izzy. But if we're not in this, you don't want to fight. Okay, anyways. You weren't interested in fighting Khabib if he was to move up to 170 because that's your Muslim brother. That's your brother. Is it Islam also? Okay. And Bilal Muhammad, you don't like him, right? Isn't he your... Doesn't make much sense, does it? This is bad. Kamaru, you're digging yourself a hole and you're contradicting yourself so much when you really just need a fight. You just need a fight. You should have taken that Bilal Muhammad fight, and that will come back to bite you, and it already has. It already is. Maybe you haven't recognized that. I'm sure you're losing confidence that you're going to get that title shot. I don't understand how you had that much confidence anyways. In a pretty uneventful fight against Joaquin Buckley, even though you did dominate him, but it was pretty uneventful against a guy who wasn't that highly ranked. But all good. All good. I just don't understand how you can put these sentences together and these reasonings together when you directly correlate with them. It's bad. It's really bad. Like I said, you fought Gilbert Burns. Shout out to you, because y'all were training partners. But he's really getting under my skin, guys. Because the fact of the matter is, let's go back to the rankings. Jack Dilla Maddalena is closer to a title shot than you. Bilal Muhammad is closer to a title shot than you. Michael Morales is closer to a title shot than you. Shavkat Rakhmonov is closer to a title shot than you. Carlos Prates is closer to a title shot than you. Ian Machado Gary is closer to a title shot than you. Sean Brady just lost to Michael Morales, but he's closer to a title shot than you, even though he's coming off of a loss. And you're ranked 8.
Just crazy.
And you were gifted a matchup against this guy, which would damn near guarantee you a title shot. And you said no. It's bad looks. Like, comment, subscribe, share this to somebody, and I hope they'll enjoy it just like you did. Leave a subscribe for your boy. Turn on post notifications. Absolutely free. Help support the channel. You ain't got to go home. You got to get up out of here, man. Yeet.